Yeah, the whole family was very involved in scouting. Jeff is actually the third member of the family to receive the Silver Beaver Award. His father has received it, his brother Bruce has received it, and now Jeff is receiving it. All three of the Goodman brothers are Eagle Scouts, and their father was on the board and, continues to be involved with scouting even at his age of, I believe he's 84 now. So both Bruce and Jeff are still involved in scouting.
Jeff just has like an infectious energy that you want to be around. So no matter what he's doing, you kind of want to be involved too. It's just how he is.
When he first joined scouting, he was kind of like, just wanted to take a back seat and didn't want to do anything. But once I kind of edged him on a little bit, he's now a real go-getter and getting involved in everything. His biggest thing that he's involved in is wood badge. If anybody mentions wood badge, he's right there to talk about it. So he is really gung-ho about the training portion of scouting.
Jeff fits in. He's sort of like another scoutmaster sometimes. He'll step up to that role if it's needed. He's currently in the committee chair role because we needed that because our committee chair previously had resigned. So Jeff stepped into that role and is helping work to make it, try to make the troop better with his experience within the troop as a youth, knowing how the troop runs, trying to get our committee, which has always been fairly strong, even stronger.
When he stepped down as scoutmaster and I took back over as scoutmaster, he became the committee chairman, so he likes to run around and say he's my boss now. I mean, he's done wood badge. I mean, we did wood badge together. Because of my involvement with the troop, I never went back and served on wood badge staff. After he stepped down, as scoutmaster, and after the National Chamber, he did go back and serve on wood badge staff. So he's been on wood badge staff, I think, for 3 or 4 courses now.
Jeff is just a fun guy to work with. He's very hardworking, and he cares a lot about the Scouts. He's always there to help. He is always like one to jump in and just do what needs to be done, no matter what it is.
And he makes it fun, and that's the best part. Everybody has a good time when and they're learning at the same time.
Dean is, when I first met him, I didn't know very much about wood badge. I didn't know very much about being an adult leader. Through Dean, he's taught me a lot of how to be an assistant scoutmaster and how to interact with the kids and different activities you can do with them. He's taught me a lot.
Dean is an engineer's engineer. Okay? If you want to meet an engineer, meet my friend Dean Kaiser. He's a traffic engineer. You know, he designed the traffic light not too far from my house. I like that traffic light. But he's very methodical. He breaks big problems down into small problems. He starts solving those small problems. And before you know it, he's got a solution to the big problem.
He is the committee chairman of Troop 48. And he was the committee chairman of PAC 36 for years as his sons went through the program. And he's still the committee chairman for Troop 48. He's involved in the Webelos to Scouts. He's involved in the advancement committee on the council level. And he's always willing to step forward and help.
He's just such an outgoing go-getter. I mean, if you need something, he's there. And he always does it with a smile, no matter what it is he does.
Dean, with his program and his tools, he's helping troops reach back and build relationships with PACs so that we keep those boys engaged, because we all know that Boy Scouting is that life-changing experience. It's the power that is Scouting. It's why we're all so passionate about Scouting. We've seen the power. We've seen it in our boys. We want it for every young man and every young woman who chooses to take advantage of it.
Now, he's not a quitter. He keeps going and going and going. And if it gets bad, he'll still keep going. He'll figure a way to make it work. He spends the time that's needed, takes the time to do it and do it right, and he makes things happen.
Dean, I'm really grateful that I've gotten to know you. You are a person that I consider to be a great asset to Chester County Council. I love what you do. I love your enthusiasm. I'm so grateful for your willingness to go around to all those district meetings and talk about Weeblo to Scout. And you do it at roundtables, and you do it at district committee meetings. I'm really grateful to you. Thank you, sir.
Carl is an unassuming fellow who quietly sits there and takes it all in. Like any good adult leader, he is not there trying to make a name for himself or earn accolades. He's there for the program. He's there for the Scouts.
Mr. Lotz, he's experienced, if nothing else. He's been in Scouts as a youth and then an adult. You know he's involved in Scouts as an adult when he sees his son and his grandson in the same troop. So he had a lot of experience with my troop in 76, and that experience really helped me out as a leader, which would be the second quality I would describe him as, is kind of a quiet leader, but still important. Troop 76, we pride ourselves in being youth-run. So while we do have a Scoutmaster like Mr. Lotz, it's still the senior patrol leader's ultimate job to lead the troop and lead the young men.
Carl was a very caring individual. He would give you the shirt off his back, you know, if it would help you out. And there were times on camping trips where he took his coat off and gave it to a young man who was cold or who was wet and, you know, wasn't quite prepared. Very encouraging. He had a very calm way of talking to everyone and getting his point across.
Carl's one of those guys who has inspired me by his level of dedication to Scouting. You can tell he really cares about the Scouts and about the program.
So I learned a lot of leadership abilities and became a confident leader as a 15, 16-year-old from Mr. Lotz because he never stopped supporting me, but he never stepped in too far. So I got to learn from my mistakes and my successes, and in the meantime, he was always there to still help me if I had any questions.
I'd just like to congratulate him on earning the Silver Beaver. It's a well-deserved honor. He's been in Scouting a very, very long time, and given his time long after his boys have, you know, since gone out of the program, and just been somebody who's been there for the troop and been there for Scouting to make sure that it continues to go on.
John Miller is one of those people who's just really focused on the youth. As an educator, he focuses always on teaching a lesson, learning something, taking the opportunity to teach something new. And that's really how I met him, too, on a hike. It was hysterical. We went up to Pulpit. He fell over, got turtled with his backpack. Stuck, could not move. We get in there, we pull him out, and what does he do? He starts talking about the value of an outside frame versus an inside frame.
Well, I could tell you there's only one John Miller. Certainly I would call him instrumental in the fact that we've become as involved in scouting as we are currently. Again, I told you before, I've got 6 boys. I've got 2 that have already eagled through, and I've got 2 in the troop currently. And I got to tell you, it's not something that we didn't push them to go to Eagle Scout when they came into scouting. It was something that they, by just the experience they had for scouting, and I said certainly John was instrumental in that process, and for me to draw me into the program and to really see the value of it and what it could be.
John has a knack for leadership. And in that, I mean, there are people who take on a role or a responsibility for leadership because there's a void there, or they have a personal desire to, and they don't always have the traits necessary to do that. John does. John has an ability. Look, I've known John for 6 years. I've been his pastor for 6 years. In those 6 years, especially when it comes to scouting, those who are involved with our scouting program gravitate to John. It's his knowledge of scouting. It's his experience with scouting. It's his ability to organize scouting's chaos.
John's a consummate storyteller. John, I'd love to have him come to campouts that we had. We often camped in his backyard. We often camped at his place up in the mountains. And when he would tell a story, there were a couple nights I didn't sleep well. They were that spooky, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he was my mentor when I came into scouting as a scoutmaster. He was the person who mentored me through all of my learning experience, and it's just helpful. But you could challenge anything that he would tell you. You could then challenge it and say, I don't necessarily agree, or what if we come at it this direction? And in so doing, he would come back and re-challenge you to make sure that it was the best thing. But you could always do things, whatever worked best, as long as it was in line with what was best for the scouts.
He cares about the community. He cares about the youth in the community, not just the boys, but the boys and the girls. And he cares about Glenmore, and he cares about his church.